Hello and welcome back to Talk About Strange. I got some really awesome supernatural stories here for you today. Happy Friday. It's Friday. Isn't that awesome? Seems like my days run into each other though, but I still love Friday for some reason. Anyway, I got some really cool stories, but I want to tell you, guys, get those stories sent in to me. I've been asked for more stories and I'd like to do more stories. I have been a little bit slow lately because I've been working on a lot of the back-end analytics, figuring out the more stuff with the store, figuring out the shorts and stuff like that, and just trying to make better quality videos. But all that takes time, so there's only so much time in a day. I do my best, and but I do need more stories, so keep sending them in. I know I mentioned punctuations and stuff. That doesn't mean stop sending them. Don't be afraid to send them. Send them in. I'll work with you the best I can. I understand now that punctuations are kind of a thing of a past. I forget how old I am. Anyway, get those stories sent in to me so I can share them, and we'll have a lot of fun with it. I got some good stories here. Geez, I found this one. It was back January 5th. Oops. It's our friend Miranda. So I'm going to get this one in here. I'm sure there's some other ones too. I've been working on a lot of the back-end analytics, so I've been just busy with that. And but I'm going to keep getting these stories out to you. We're still growing. We're doing a great job. I couldn't do it without you guys. Let's keep the ball rolling. And I'm going to get started right in on this now. I want to add this other one in here. It's just a short little clip that was sent in to me. Luis Urrea. My name is Luis Alejandro Urrea Villaferret. I am an indirect descendant of Teresa Urrea. I can produce the same electrical thrill described in many of our interviews with journalists around the world by simply touching a person or animal. I am capable of producing a small muscle convulsion or even a small electric shock. It only takes me about 3 to 20 seconds to produce either a small muscle convulsion or a small electric shock, sometimes both. We can set up a meeting and I can show you what I'm capable of through a direct physical contact with your hands, wrists, or any part of your body. I hope you can check the website, get in contact with me as soon as you can. Lesion, psychic phenomena. Interesting. Thank you for sharing that with me. I will definitely check that out and be in touch. See what I did there? All right, I'm sorry. Had to do it. Anyway, okay. Back to the next story. Okay, this one's kind of cool. Heavenly phone call. All right, dear kind sir, I'm so inspired to share my most anointed stories with you because you are so understanding and respectful of all people. Thank you for this. A few years ago, my beautiful father, who used to pray with me every night at 3:33 a.m. outside under the starlit sky, lit a candle and told me, "This is God's phone number. It's Jeremiah 3:33. That our God says to call to him anytime or anywhere." As Jeremiah was so alone in jail and called out to God. My story is interesting because my father was very scientific and spiritual. He would talk for hours to me about God. He told me that 3 o'clock hour is very important, as he told me in his sweet Portuguese accent that God's office hours are from midnight till 3 in the morning. As he said, at the holy hour, God opens his door to let us drink coffee with him and ask him things. Cool. So I asked my dad if he could call me when he dies from heaven. He laughed and said, "Okay, I will ask the boss if I can do that, and I promise I will do my best." Because my dad knew I had extremely paranormal abilities, as often I was being studied in different military facilities for my unique abilities, as I previously explained. Well, soon after that last conversation, my beautiful father passed away. I'm just going to add a note in here. Yes, she has written in to us before about her life and some of the things that she's been through. Miranda's been around Hollywood a lot and around a lot of very well-known people. Her parents were very famous. I'll leave that to her if she wants to speak about it in the notes. She has the book. Some of you went on and purchased her book. I don't have it here in front of me. Otherwise, I would give that a shout out. But I'm sure that Miranda can offer that up in the comments. So if you guys are interested, quite a life, let me tell you, for real. Everyone in my family knew about him passing away except me. Finally, I learned of his passing away and felt so alone and prayed so hard for a sign from God to let me know that my father was okay. Next, after praying for a long time, I heard the phone ring. It was exactly 3:33 a.m. I grabbed the phone and said, "Hello." I heard the most heavenly, majestic music of angel voices. Then I heard my father say, "I love you." Then a chorus of angels singing very clearly a message that I could never forget. The musical message said, "Just as the trees are green and the sky is blue, please know that I love you." I started screaming, "Daddy, Daddy, come home." Then the phone went silent and only static could be heard. Next, I tried to hit recall and it was not able to connect. Then I looked at the caller ID and it was 3:33. I next heard a loud bang and ran out to the living room and a painting of my father he had gave me of a famous Indian princess who had died, and Chief wasn't able to say goodbye to her. It was a painting my dad gave me called Las Moradas, means from the dead. Next, my neighbor knocked on the door to see if I was okay because they had heard the phone late at 3 a.m. hour and heard a crash of the painting that literally flew across the room and landed on the floor. I said that they said they thought someone broke into my house. I said yes. My dad stopped by from heaven to let me know he was okay. That message was poetic, as I was missing him so much, and the phone message said, "Just as the trees are green and the sky is blue, please know that I love you. Amen." I hope my true story is comforting, and I know many people are sending in their incredible stories. I understand if you don't have a place for this story, but my only hope is that it may comfort someone you know, and perhaps you can share it with another person. Thank you so much for your time and all the blessings you are to so many who tune into your channel. God has set you up for such a time like this to bless and comfort humanity. God bless you and your family. In his love, Miranda Kana. Amen. Thank you, Miranda. That's so sweet. And I'm glad I obviously would find a place for this in here. I'm sorry it took so long. Like I said, there's just overwhelming amount of stuff and finding the right place to put something so it fits in. But it's a beautiful story, and thank you for sharing that with us. And I'm sorry to hear about your father's passing. I know this happens, but I hope it was all a peaceful passing and stuff. But thank you for sharing that with us, and don't be afraid to send them in. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of love, and I'm sure that this will help a lot of people. All right, now moving along. I'm going backwards here. We have Teresa from Pennsylvania again. All right. Hi, Steve. Oh, by the way, I just want to mention, if you guys didn't notice, I got new blinders on. I am still getting used to them. It's a little bit different than my other ones. I have a lot more open view here, without the frames. They're the glare proof, but I don't know. I'm still getting used to them. They're still a little wonky for me, but I don't know. I got weird eyes, man. I don't know what it is. So I'm trying to work that out. I'm doing the best I can. I swear it's not an excuse. It really isn't. My other ones I had to have all the way at the bottom to read. And now these are like almost right in the middle. So we'll get it worked out. I just got to say, you know how far back eyeglasses go? I mean, glasses go way, 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 way back. They've been doing this a long time. And I still don't understand how you go into the eye doctor and they say, is this better, this better, this better, this better, this better, this better. You say, yep. And you're looking through it and everything's crystal clear. And you're like, yes, that's great, perfect, thank God. They give you your glasses and you're like, I can't see that. What's going on? Yeah, why is it like that? You just got to get used to it. I didn't have to get used to it when I was sitting in your chair. Why do I got to get used to it now? I should be able to put it on and see, right? I don't know. I'm ranting. Whatever. They're great, though. Other than that, they're great. I just got to get used to them, I guess. Anyway. You already shared my story about my Bigfoot experience while camping with my son and daughter-in-law in Laurel Mountains of southwestern Pennsylvania. My son is the one who took his life in July. Sorry to hear that again. Sorry, my condolences. But I don't want to talk about that. I just want to tell you about all the times I should have rightfully been dead, but either my guardian angel saved me or it just wasn't my time. When I was about 12 years old, I was up on at my best friend's house. It was a half a block from where I lived. I was standing on her front porch, which was all wood and very old. We were all standing outside talking on the porch, and I was holding their youngest child, Christian, in my arms, and we were leaning against the railing. Suddenly, the railing let loose, and I went flying down this embankment, holding Christian and never let go. For a 12-year-old, I think that was pretty amazing. Neither one of us had any major injuries, but a few brush burns maybe. Another time when I was 17 years old, a whole group of us teenagers that hung out together would meet up in the parking lot downtown and jump into different cars and drive around all the back roads, drinking beer and doing teenager things, laugh out loud. I remember that. It was good old days. One night, me and Renee, my best friend, and 3 boys, we were all just friends, were in the car, and George was driving the other car with another group of friends. We all drove out to what I call Wagley Stretch, and it was a straightaway where a lot of young people love to drag race. Oh yeah. Well, when the driver said he was going to race George, Renee and I said, let us out of the car right now, but they wouldn't. They continued on to Wagley Stretch, which was only about a mile from the parking lot. They both turned their cars around. George and Al, who was driving our car, said, hit it. He started flying back down towards town. The last time I looked at the speedometer, he was going 80 miles an hour. And I was sitting on a console. I was pounding on his knee, screaming, slow down. There's a huge curve that was coming up, an S-bend. It was right next to the parking lot. Right at the end of the bend was a phone booth, and there were buildings. Oh, a phone pole, I'm sorry. There was a phone pole, and there were buildings directly beyond it, one being a factory made of brick. Al missed the turn and flew straight into the pole, and because it was so old, it split in half, but went directly through the motor and stopped right in front of me. I had no seatbelt on, anything, and the only thing I ended up with was a head-to-toe black and blue marks and some scratches on my face. We all hobbled away somehow. We should have all been dead. If you'd just seen that car, you would not believe how bad it looked. The whole front end was completely smashed in, and we all walked away. We had driven into one of the old buildings, and it was a house, and the roof fell down on top of the car as well. To this day, I'm amazed we all survived that wreck. I got married when I was 20, and when my husband was 24, I was pregnant with my second child, who was my son. My husband had gone to a training center and become a CNC machinist, and he completed the program but could not find a job due to lack of experience. Well, a job opened in New Jersey, which meant we had to up and move to another state and have no friends or anything. But to get to his experience, we thought it was worth it, so we moved out there. A guy that worked with my husband had an old hunting cabin in the mountains that he was willing to rent to us for a fair price. But it was old and the appliances were old too. We had an oven that was propane. The evening I put a pre-made pizza in the oven and cooked it for dinner. For some reason, the flame never came on. The gas was building up inside the oven. I'd been in the bedroom talking to my husband and came out to check the pizza and opened the oven door and realized that the oven was not hot. Not thinking about the gas buildup, again, didn't smell anything. I lit a match to light it and boom, I got blown across the floor into the living room. Wow. Yeah, I've done that. I'm trying not to lose my spot here. I've done that lighting we had an old propane water heater, and every once in a while a backdraft would blow down through and blow the pilot out, so I'd go down there and relight it. Well, I forgot to wait until the gases evacuated, and I reached in there just from the side. I reached in with my hand, and that thing exploded, shook the whole house. Soot fell down off from the rafters and everything else. Well, the beams, it was a really old house. Blew my hand back against the concrete wall or stone wall. I mean, it hurt like hell. I can't imagine somebody being hit directly with that kind of force. That was insane. My wife thought, even hollered down, "Is everything okay?" Because she thought I got blown up. It shook the whole house. So I can imagine. I'm surprised that cabin even, well, maybe it didn't stand. I can find out here. All right, now thinking about the gas buildup, I lit a match to light and boom, I went across the floor into the living room and burnt half of my hair, and my sweater literally melted because it was nylon and it was smoking, and my 3-year-old daughter was standing in the kitchen no more than 4 foot to my left, and only singed the top of her hair. You see, I closed my eyes, thankfully, which was probably instinct. That was a miracle also, I think. Then when we moved back to New Jersey and we were living in a little town of Pennsylvania, my daughter was already in school. She was only in the 2nd grade. I had gone grocery shopping with my son, and when I came back, I saw fire trucks and lights close to my house. We lived in a duplex, and when I turned down my street, I saw all these people standing in the street looking at my house. It was my side of the house that was on fire. I was so freaked out, I stopped my car and right on top of the fireman's hose, which blocked the water, and people were standing there screaming at me to move the car. Oh no. But I was not comprehending, and I get it, that they were saying because I was so freaked out. The houses in this town had no basements because they were built in a time when they didn't have basements there. But the pipes underneath the house would sometimes freeze in the winter, and so everybody used heat tape on their pipes to keep them from freezing. It was January 18th, 1987. A plumber had come out and put heat tape on our pipes, and it was like the kind you weren't supposed to insulate. But he wrapped insulation around them, which caused the fire. We lost absolutely everything except a washer and dryer that was in the kitchen, and all the buttons were melted, but it still worked. The bathroom fell down into the kitchen. The fire burst up through the wall straight into my bathroom and the kids' bedroom. They had bunk beds. If it had happened at night, both of my kids would have been gone, and probably me too. That's another time I probably should have died. When I was 50, I found out through a sonogram that I had kidney cancer, and had not gotten this sonogram for something else, I never would have found out. They caught it in time, and only half of my kidney had a tumor. Then when I was close to 59 years old, I had diverticulitis very bad. I found out later I had an infection all through me and my colon burst. If I hadn't gotten to the hospital when I did, I would have died for sure. They removed 12 inches of my colon. I just feel like all my life something has been trying to take me out of this world, and being a Christian that I am, I think it was the devil. He hates people who try to bring people closer to the Lord. Well, these are just some of the stories I can tell you right now, and I'm sure there are more I'm not thinking of right now. But I want to share them with you because to me, I believe I've lived through 9 lives for sure, laugh out loud. I still love your channel, Steve. Keep it up, and we'll keep watching. Teresa. Brutal. It's really frustrating when you get your glasses. You go in to these people, you want to trust them, and sometimes you just feel like you're at a car dealership, and they just want to, I don't know. You tell them it's not quite right, and they tell you it is. You just got to get used to it. I don't know. It's frustrating. I tell them that what I do now is read to these messages, and it's very difficult to read them with the wrong glasses. So what are you doing?
Okay, I found this on the web for difficult to read them with the wrong glasses. So what are you doing? Check it out.
Come on, go away. Go. How do I get this to go away?
Okay.
All All right. This one is from Zena. I hope I can say your name. You didn't tell me not to anywhere in here that I've seen. But I'm not going to give your last name. So I'll leave that up to you if you want to get in the comment section and say something. Hello, Steve. I just listened to your last video and understand completely what you mean. To survive situations that probably shouldn't have and look back and wonder why. Please buckle in because this might get a bit weird. Where to start? Since I've been very young, I felt the same way you did. That was something was protecting me from certain situations. Otherwise, I certainly would have perished. One that comes to mind immediately is this. Growing up, I lived in a house where the back garden ran adjacent to the sea. I have many, many more stories about that old house. By the way, it was literally alive with the dead. Creepy. I know it's hard to write to people to visualize, but basically, where the end of the garden was, there was a wall going down to a very small beach, and at the end of that was a slipway where old boats would dock. It's a very old layer of stones, so the boats can slip up and down the dock. Our home was an old house, 1775, and the wall adjoining the neighbor's house was built around the same time, and the houses shared the dock. The wall about 20 foot high at least. I became friends with a boy that lived next door and used to run down the wall to see him. It took a bit to climb up in. Definitely wasn't safe, but he was my age and we had fun together. I was about 8. My mother had passed away and I was lonely. My father was away. He took a holiday, I think. Well deserved. And he had someone take care of us. Otherwise, I would have been supervised more closely. But back then, to be honest, we were left alone a bit more and free. That's true. I remember that. I'm talking in the 1970s. So one day I saw him in his garden, and I got up to the wall and that I climbed up and treaded carefully so as not to fall off the 20-foot drop to get to his garden. I started to run because I was happy and excited to see him. The only thing I didn't see was a rope about 20 foot away from the edge of the wall. So I tripped and fell. On the way down to the landing slabs of the stone, I heard and felt the word relax in my ear and felt something wrap its arms around me. I relaxed and walloped on the top of my head and blacked out. My babysitter came belting down the beach screaming, "She's dead, she's dead." Gathered me up and ran home sobbing with me flailing. I remember the thump and going down like a sack. I also remember feeling safe and protected before the thump, like being cocooned and away from the danger by the voice and the arms. My poor dad had to cut his holiday short. He worked very hard and always, and I felt bad for him. I didn't want to be a burden. Since that day, I've tripped and fallen and have had that same message and felt those arms protecting me. Once when I was a younger person coming home from a nightclub and had walked home, I stumbled off the footpath and was falling face down right on the edge of the footpath. The same thing happened. Without them, I would have broke my neck. I'm sure of it. Or my face or got hit by an oncoming car. The other was walking on a wet tile floor where I was definitely going face down and I couldn't get up. The soft hand shielded my face. Thankfully, my chin caught the blunt. Otherwise, it would have destroyed my face. And I'm not exaggerating. Honestly, it gives me the worst shivers just thinking about it. I can't write it out fully. I won't walk on a wet tile floor to this day. Some may say it's my mom, ma'am, mother, mom, M-A-M, ma'am. I'm going to say mom. Some may say it's my mom, and I'd love to think it was her. Thanks, Mom. I believe we all have spirit guides and a spirit team who help us all each and every day. I talk to mine and thank them every day. Since all the experiences growing up in that house and subsequently I've gone on to meet like-minded people and I don't feel so weird. Found my tribe, I finally say, laugh out loud. We are mediums, witches, whatever you want to call us. We do a lot of good in our community. The reason I say this initially was because it was where it gets to the probably unbelievable part. I've seen things my whole life. I have 2 sons now. Of course, they think I'm batshit crazy. We laugh about it. I'm okay with that, laugh out loud. Last weekend, my oldest son tells me as we were having a chat and a laugh, Mom, I don't know how I'm still alive. Of course, the fear crept up in me. Do you really want to hear this? He plugged on. Mom, I don't know how I'm still alive. One day when I was out with my lads, about 12 years old, he was climbing the town walls. They are at least 60 feet tall. He said he fell, tumbled down them, bounced off a branch, then into another branch, and landed on his feet. To this day, he doesn't know how that happened. Not a scratch, nothing. He said he's also had a firecracker blow up in his face with no damage. He doesn't know how. And he fell out of a tree heading down to the ground with no damage. I had to walk away at this point. I don't want to hear, yourself, a parent, fingers in ear, la la la, laugh out loud. Okay, I get it. But I know there's many more. He's 21 now, and you may call him lucky, superhuman. I think it's because he has a very strong team behind him. I know now that people switch off and say that this is a load of nonsense because I would too before I knew. We were sitting in our kitchen having a laugh. A few beers just hanging out. I saw a dark figure, massive, come in through the kitchen door. I thought he was going to go to the elder son who was first and at the door, but he went past him to stand beyond my younger son, and I heard the name Megatron. I said it out loud. They laughed. I think it's some character of a movie, so I didn't blame them, laugh out loud. He stopped behind my son and said, I heard, they didn't. I'm here for him. I will always protect him. He's one of us. And then gone. Of course they think I'm an extra level of batshit crazy now, laugh out loud. I know what I saw and I heard. I've heard the name Metatron before, but really didn't know anything about him at all. So I put the 2 and 2 together. So I Googled and went on and bought a book, Archangel Metatron. I just knew that he was in our kitchen. He was there for my son, and it all makes sense. Archangel Metatron helps with children, people with ADD, ADHD, and issues like that, which he has. Very bad anxiety. God help him. This world isn't easy on those youngs these days. I know I'm not the world's best medium, but I definitely see and hear, so that's enough for me. The takeaway from my story is that we are all never alone. We have a fantastic spirit team always working for us on a day-to-day basis, with our superstars showing up every now and then, laugh out loud. I give thanks every day for the help that they give me and both of my boys. Without their help, I just wouldn't know what to think about it. Giving gratitude at the start and end of each day is everything to me, and I believe it is the most important thing we can do. So I have many more stories if you're interested. Thank you for your wonderful channel, Steve. I definitely spent my whole life believing in guardian angels. I was raised Catholic, and I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I suppose it does. But I've always believed, and I've always prayed for a band of guardian angels to protect me and my family, my children, my friends, and people around us. And even expanded out, sometimes I feel guilty asking for protection for myself when I want protection for everybody. So, but that's a whole nother subject. We're talking about supernatural, and I guess you could call that supernatural, right? That was it. That was our last story here on this. So anyway, thank you guys all so very much. Make sure you get in the comment section. Don't forget to send in your stories. These were really awesome stories. I hope you enjoy them. I know I did. Thank you so much, and you guys have a wonderful weekend. I might even try to get another story up here if I can. So stick with me. We'll see you again soon.